Hello, seventh graders. With that last 9/11 presentation, we have ended our sprint through United States history. We've talked about the last couple of days that as geographers, it's important that we understand the physical geography of a region, right? We need to know about mountains, rivers, lakes, all that kind of stuff. We also need to know about the political map or area of that region, like boundaries and states and capitals and cities, all of those things. And on top of that, things like climate is important, culture is important, global interaction is important. What we also know that we need to do is study a brief history of these regions because geography affects history and history affects geography. So we are going to now, I hope your tennis shoes are on, we're going to even do a quicker sprint through the history of Mexico and Canada, okay? So that will finish up that part of North America. And later on, just a little bit after Thanksgiving, we'll get going into Central America and the Caribbean, okay? We'll do this area. But for today, a quick sprint through Mexico's history. Just like the United States, long before the European explorers came, Native Americans were established, and Mexico in particular had grand civilizations. Okay, you're going to read about the Mayans today. Mayans are going to be around the Yucatan Peninsula, and you're going to read about the Aztecs, more in central Mexico. Those were two Native American civilizations that built great societies before the Europeans arrived. So what I want you to do is take a second to turn in your books to page 102 and 103. 102 and 103. All right, if you look on the sideboard over here, you will see that one of today's learning targets is that you can compare and contrast the Mayans with the Aztecs, okay? So you look at this chart here, that's exactly what we are going to do. Take your index finger and on page 102, point to the heading that says Maya. All right, now take an index finger and point to the heading that says Aztec. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to give your brain something to read for, okay? So that our bell goes off when we're reading. This is what we are reading for with your partner. When did that civilization take place? Okay, when you read it, stop, get your answer in the box. Where did it take place? Read it, bell goes off, put your answer in the box. What were their major contributions? In other words, what were things that they invented? Maybe things that we still use today, okay? And then decline. Why did it decline and when did it decline, okay? Bell goes off, you write it in this box, okay? Now, the important thing here is that you are both reading. So one partner might start with the first paragraph and then the second partner goes. And you're going to go back and forth and you're going to read everything. You stop when you come across those answers to write, but then you go right back to reading. The important part is to really read. Then when you're done with the Mayans, you're going to do that same activity with the Aztecs. Okay? When, where, major contributions, decline. There you go. When you are done, you can just sit quietly and wait for the rest of the group to finish up. And then Mr. Torno is going to go over some of the answers to make sure that you are on the right track. All right, on your marks, get set, go. All right, so we have these two huge empires, these ancient civilizations. And you already read that the Aztecs are going to fall in the 1500s. Now you're going to read why they fell. So turn your book one more page to page 104 and 105. That lesson is entitled The Conquistadors. The Conquistadors, that is a term for like a Spanish explorer, like a soldier type explorer. Spain in the old world, in Europe, is sending out explorers on the hunt for wealth, for land, for Spain, okay? They want fame for the country of Spain. And these conquistadors arrive in Mexico looking for those things. They quickly look around and obviously see, wow, okay? You read in their last lesson about Tenochtitlan. Some scholars compare the city, that Aztec city, to like New York City or Rome. It was grand. It was the center of commerce. It was a big deal. So the conquistadors get there and they are like drooling, salivating. We want this. Okay. So what I want you to do is scroll down in your assignment just a tinge. Okay. And this time what you're going to do is create a little bit of a timeline, not necessarily looking for dates so much, but just one event after the next. Okay. And the learning target here is, why were the Spanish able to be so victorious over the Aztecs? I thought they were these fierce hunter warriors with this great empire. Why did they take them down so easily? Okay. So with your partner, just like you did last time, one of you is going to read the first paragraph and you're going to go back and forth, okay? And as you go back and forth, you're going to think about, okay, the Spanish explorers arrive in search for land and wealth. What happens next? Okay? What happens when they get there? Who do they meet? Okay? Keep reading. What happens next in this timeline of events? So continue, and you're just going to summarize the story in 5 steps. Okay, first this happens, then this happens, then this happens. Read all the way to the end, okay, all the way to the results. Your timeline will be done before you see the results of the conquest, okay? You could add a little bit in there at the end too, but read all the way to the end. What are your 5 steps of how the Aztecs were conquered? Then, when you're done, read this final question. What do you think was the biggest reason the Aztec civilization was defeated? Okay, what brought them down? All right, with your partner, go ahead and work on that. On your marks, get set, go.